So, welcome everybody. And we had a little bit of problem on Facebook today, but we're going to do this video on Zoom because I really want you to meet my lovely friend, Astrid Gamez. She is, I've known her for the last 4 years, and I want to tell you all about her, and I want her to share her wonderful program with you. So Astrid is the founder and executive director of Family Services Network. I met Astrid, as I say, about 4 years ago on LinkedIn when I was looking for somebody to translate the Spanish part of my program for My Body is My Body. And Astrid very, very kindly offered to volunteer and translate for me. So that's how we started talking. And then we found out that we both work in child abuse prevention and we both have programs. And we went on to meet in Prague in 2018 at the ISCAN conference, which was lovely. So we got to spend about 4 days together and we presented our programs together. So that was an amazing thing to be able to do, to meet somebody from America and then meet in Prague. So let me tell you a bit about Astrid. For the past 18 years, Astrid has been serving local communities in the North Virginia and Washington areas. She developed a program called Whom Should I Tell?, which is a curriculum program and a comprehensive child sexual abuse prevention program that teaches parents and caregivers the practical tools and techniques to prevent and recognize and report any type of sexual abuse. She is an ACT RSK manager, master trainer, and she trained facilitators in North Virginia, Washington, DC, Miami, Colombia, and Ecuador. So she does it all over the place. She gets around, Astrid. And she's from Venezuela originally. Astrid holds an MA in prevention and treatment of family violence, children, couples, and the elderly from the University of Barcelona in Spain, and a BA in psychology with a certification on child welfare from the George Mason University. So she is very, very well educated in this area, and she does tremendous work. And I am very honored to be able to work with her and also to invite her to meet you all today, because as I say, she's a lovely lady and does some amazing work. So hello, Astrid.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so sorry that we have that problem with Facebook Live. Sometimes technology play, tricky games to people.
It was just playing up. I could add other people, but I couldn't add the person I wanted to.
But it's okay, because this is not going to be the last one. This is the first one in a series that we are going to be doing together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we both have a passion for teaching parents to educate their children about child abuse prevention. So, Astrid, what got you interested in dealing with this subject originally?
Well, this is a question that people always ask when I say that I work in child sexual abuse prevention. People go like, sometimes it's shocking, sometimes people welcome me and say, wow, that's a wonderful thing to do. But what got me in there is that I have been working in the community. How you say, I'm from Venezuela and I moved 26 years ago to the United States. My kids were little, so I started working in domestic abuse issues. In the meantime, I was taking some classes and I was involved in a program called Good Touch, Bad Touch. And I thought that I was very interested in that families, the Latino families that I was working with, they never talk about it. They didn't like to talk about it. So it was a new subject for them. So having two small children, I became very interesting. And then the rest is my big story. I went back to school. I got my degree in psychology. I started working. I in one big organization with children and mothers. And I find out that when we talk about child abuse, they never talk about sexual abuse. They were able to recognize and talk about physical abuse, verbal abuse, psychological abuse, but they never mention or say anything about sexual abuse.
Mm.
So when I start asking about that piece that they were missing, people gave me this definition like directly, is when an adult touch the children's private part. And I was like, that's it. I mean, there is anything else that you can add? And people were like, no, I mean, there is other type of sexual abuse. So I started explaining about all the type of sexual abuse in children, and people were very into, oh, I didn't know about it. So that was when I started thinking we need a program. The program that I was teaching, the Good Touch, Bad Touch, wasn't enough, and it was a lot of for the children at school. So when I went back to school for my master, I find out that I was fascinated. The University of Barcelona have this wonderful program that you can do a lot of with it has everything to do with family abuse, domestic abuse, children's abuse, early abuse, and I decided to become an expert and dedicate my life to child sexual abuse.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
And then you know the rest, that I meet you one day and we have been talking and working. I mean, it's something that is very, I love what I do. And I think that we have to do more.
Yes.
We need a lot of help, and we need everybody to be talking about this issue.
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing, is we have to break the ice. I feel sometimes that's where the My Body program comes in as well, is it helps to break the ice, because it's music, you know, and whichever way, whichever program, whichever, you know, decision we make to take it, we need to talk. That's the bottom line, is that's the only way we're going to get anything done about this terrible problem. I wanted to ask you.
And let me tell you, I travel a lot. Well, in the last year, because we have been locked for the pandemic, I haven't done that much travel. But every time that I get in a plane or I walk anywhere, and people ask me because they see me reading or something, I always say it. And I always give my pamphlet that I have I always have something in my hand that I can give it away. And there are people that they don't like it, and you can see in the face. But there are other people that they are, oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing this. So I think that we need to replicate this. Everybody has to be talking about it.
Yeah,
without
it needs to become not taboo anymore. And I think it's like we were discussing before, that it's so close to everybody, because I don't care who you are, you either have been abused, or you know somebody in your family that's been abused, or you have a close friend that's been abused. It's around us. And I think that's why when we start talking about it, people close down. It's because it may bring back bad memories or bad situations that they don't want to think of, and it's like easier to do that rather than going, yes, let's do something about it, let's talk about it, let's get rid of this, you know, this terrible scourge in our society.
Well, it's a trauma. So trauma, if you don't get help or any therapy, it's going to be very difficult to speak out. But
well, we just have to look at the statistics, don't we? You know, as to the abused children and all the terrible things that they tend to happen to them as they grow up, you know, the mental problems, physical problems, relationship problems, you know, it's terrible, you know.
But I always say that together we can prevent it.
Absolutely.
I think that I remember back 25 years ago when people used to smoke. People start putting in every bus, and everywhere you were looking like stop smoking, stop smoking. So it's something like we have to achieve something like that.
Absolutely.
We have to put it everywhere. I mean, start talking, no stop, start talking about this.
Absolutely.
So I think that if we get together and we can do something big, I'm pretty sure that we are going to reduce that and people are going to feel more comfortable talking about the topic.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I wanted to ask you, do you think child abuse has increased over the last year during the pandemic?
Well, with the pandemic, it's very interesting what is happening, because now that everybody is locked, not many people are going out, and families are spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week inside the house with the kids. We think that it has gone up. Of course, that people like me that we work in the community and we work with families, we don't see it, what is happening.
Yeah.
So we have less reports.
Mm.
But we have in mind that it has been more.
I know our phone lines in England, you know, our reporting lines like the NSPCC and the Child Line, the phone calls to them have gone up about 30%.
Up?
Yeah.
In ours, no. In ours has been like people are not reporting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
that's our that's our big problem right now, that we don't see that people are, because most of the report coming from schools, from settings that people work with children.
Yes.
It doesn't come directly from the family
No.
or a friend. So that's what we are afraid. In my case, I'm very happy because I have been doing all the programs that we implement in the organization. We have been able to do it online.
Yes.
We put all the programs online and we are packed. We have classes every single day. The classes are full. Parents are, they are eager to understand how we are going to fix this problem. And the first thing that families say every time that they take the first day of class, they say, we don't know how the teachers do with 25 kids in the classroom. I only have 3 and I'm going crazy. I don't know what to do.
There's a new appreciation for teachers.
Yeah. So they say, now we know that it's a difficult work. But what we say is like the easy part the part that the teacher have is that if you walk in your child's classroom, you will see everywhere the rules. They have rules to do everything in the classroom. So we have to start. We have been talking about a lot about you have to have rules in your house. If you don't have it, write it down, put it in the rule, in a place that they see, and remind them, and have a list of consequences. You are not gonna succeed and survive.
A really good idea.
Pandemic.
Yeah,
but it's very simple. Even when you start classes in college, everywhere, the first thing that they said the first day is that these are the rules. The class rules. If you go to work, it's the same thing. When you start a new job, they tell you these are the rules. You have to be here at 8 o'clock from 8 to 5. You have an hour break. They give you they don't call it rules, but we know that those are rules. So it will be easy it is easy if the parents focus in the rules.
Yes, children need boundaries, don't they?
Yes.
They need their boundaries. Right. I want to ask you, because this is why we've invited you today. Can you tell us about your program, what it's all about?
Well, the program, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, because I started this program as a part of my papers at school. And I did a pilot in DC with families with women in the area. And I was surprised that out of 300 people who took the pilot, and 93% had been abused at one point of their life.
93%.
93%, it was a huge number. Most of them were Latinas, and what shocked me was that at different countries that they never got any treatment, any help.
No.
And I was worried about it, that what are you teaching your child how to prevent that something like that happen to your child? Because you don't wanna scare children about sex. You don't wanna say that that's something bad, that that's something that you cannot, do it. So because we will create another trauma. So that was the main reason that I created the program. When I saw that it was families, parents that they didn't, adults that they couldn't have that conversation with the children. They didn't have the tools. And it's something that people get scared. I don't know if I have the right vocabulary to talk to my child about it. What about, and there is many questions, what about if I start talking about sexual orientation or any type of sex talking? Is that going to make my child to be active around having sex with anybody? So there were a lot of questions that people ask. And so I was working with my professors, and I say, I want to develop something. There is a lot of things, write it down, but I need something easy for the parents to talk about it and say, hey, this is a conversation that we have to have with our children. And it has to be in early ages. We have to start talking 3-4 years old about these issues. And it's not talking about just about don't let anybody to touch you. Is to teach them what is the private part, what is all about it. And it's very interesting when we talk about private parts, because families, they go like, we don't like to talk about it. And I have an exercise in one of the sections that we have a doll, and we don't have any, it's just the figure. And I say, it can be a girl or a boy, make it. So put all the parts of the body. Most of the families that take that picture, they never made the private part of the doll. And I say, well, what about it? What happened? It doesn't have private parts. That's something that God gave us. For something, we need it. And they go like, okay, we don't like to talk about it. So it is something that we have to start teaching the parents that. So basically is to teach adults, parents, mothers, fathers, teachers, to talk about how to talk to the children about this issue.
It's so important that we talk and that we get over these humps.
And because and also giving them the tools how to see the red flags.
Yes.
Because sometimes the kids has been abused, and they are giving you the red flags
Absolutely.
the simple ones, and they don't know it.
Yeah, we need to show people what to look for. And because all children act up from time to time, but there's certain things that you can look for in a child, and we need to give parents this important information. In fact, I believe that even in high school, young children should be given some kind of parenting classes, because young children, young teenagers and young people get pregnant, they have babies, and they have no idea. I can talk from experience. I had no idea when I had my first baby. I was 17. I didn't know anything. I had a baby and I brought her up the best way that I could, but I wasn't educated in parenting in any way.
Well, let me tell you, that's something that I always say. It doesn't matter if you were 17. I mean, it was a lot. It was very young.
Very
But
young.
I always say that the first child is a challenge. They don't come with
Absolutely.
any instruction. I mean,
There's
you
no
come
manual.
out of the no, and you come out of the hospital and you only. I remember when I had my first child and I was older than that. They give me this paper saying you have to feed the baby every 3 hours. When the baby cries, you have to change diapers. If the baby is still crying, maybe because it has a pain and here, and you have to go back to you have to take the baby back to the doctor in 10 days. And I was, that's it? I mean,
Where's the book?
I was in shock. I was like, and I was the small in my family. I'm the baby. So I didn't have any reference how my mother raised my brothers, my sister, because I was the baby, and we have very the difference in age is very big.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I always said to my families that I work with, I said, don't be afraid, because the first baby, that's an experiment. You don't know. The only thing that you know is remember how your mother and your father treat you and how they raise your siblings. And that's what you are going to do.
Mm.
They are no bad people. They didn't have the tools. Thanks God that now we have all these programs that we can teach. Oh, I always, every single day when I get in the computer and I teach the programs, I'm like, wow, no many people, my parents didn't have that, and they were well educated. They were journalists, but I mean, they made mistakes. And I said, I mean, as I growing up, I said, you know what, guys, you make some mistakes that are, thanks God that I'm normal and I'm happy, because I mean, my mother used to say, no means no, and that's it.
Yeah.
There were no explanation.
No.
So I was like,
not like now.
no. So it is
yeah.
something. Yeah.
It's important, because I mean, if you have a look at the internet today, anything you want to know is there for you, and it's great. So I mean, being a parent today, I wouldn't say it's easier, but there is a lot more information there for you to absorb. So
well, they have more challenge. It is easy, but they have more challenge with technology and all these things that are these people
trying to get their children. Yes, it's difficult. But what do you think that we need to do to change the public's mindset and get people talking? What do you think will change this? I mean, we can say, yes, we've got these programs and you know, this is what needs to happen, but what do you think we need to do?
I think that the way that I always dream about what is going to happen with all this program, with your program, with my program, and other programs that they are available, we need to start talking, and we need to get together as a community. We have to, if you, I mean, make a party in your house, a reunion, meet with, I mean, invite some people to your house and talk about it and say, you know what, maybe in April, in the United States, in April is the Child Abuse Prevention Month or Awareness Month. What happened that month is that everybody's talking, but what I observe in my area is that people in my field are the ones who are talking. But when I invite my friends at home, and I don't have children anymore, but I love what I do. So I invite my friends and I say, hey, let's get together. We are going to cook. And I talk about the topic. And I said, you have to tell, if we are 10 and you get another 10 people, each of you, we are saying, we are replicating the same topic with 100 persons. So we need to start talking, get involved with the law, what is happening in the local government. Are they having any? Do they have any law that save the children. Of course, that in the United States, we have a lot of, I mean, the child protective service is wonderful. But who knows? I mean, if you work with children, you will know everything about child protective services and you know where to call. But if you don't work, I mean, just your neighbor.
Yeah.
I mean, if your neighbor is beating the child or doing something wrong and you see something wrong, please get the phone and call 911, call Child Protective Services, talk to the teacher at school. Say, hey, I noticed that my friend, my neighbor, the kids is coming to my house and have some bruise. And maybe it's nothing, but I would like to, I mean, speak out.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we don't do that, because when I get sometimes people just say, that's not my business. I mean, anybody raise the kids the way that they want. And I say,
Yeah.
no, children are children. We are the adults and we are the ones responsible for those people, for those little ones.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's my child, if it's your child, but I will speak out.
Absolutely. We have a thing I keep putting up on the internet, and it's called see something, say something, do something. And I think that is something that we all need to do. We seem to have got into this terrible mindset of, oh, it's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sort of you walk down the street, see somebody being beaten up, and you go, it's not my problem, you know. Meanwhile, you can just get on the phone and get some help. It's something that we all need to change, that type of mindset, and just not get involved physically, but we can phone and we can get that help for the children, and, you know, teachers, school counselors, people that work with kids in sport. You know, there's so many places that children are available, where you can see what's going on with them, that you could report if you see something. You know, there's a lot of places, or even if you've just got friends, your kids have got friends over and you notice something, you can always just check on it. Don't just go, it's not my problem.
No, I do believe, and I have done, sometimes people say, because you have been training to do that, and I try to train other people. I have a program in my organization that we go out during the April month. We go to the supermarkets and we set up tables outside the supermarket, and we pass a little card saying, hey, if you see something, you can call these are the numbers. Sometimes people need that ring bell. I mean,
yes.
They say, oh, maybe I didn't do it because I'm so busy and I didn't know what to do. But I noticed that this is happening in my community. And I do a lot of with the different consulates and embassies in Washington, D.C. When people are waiting to get the passports or renew everything, there is like 30, 40 people waiting. And I always there passing information and talking. And it's funny because, it's not funny, but the consuls say, they are locked here, they cannot go anywhere, they have to wait for the papers. So it's nice that Astrid started talking about all the type of abuse. And I said, that's good, because people don't have to listen.
Yes.
And there are people who open it and they say, can I have the number? I didn't know that I can do that. What about it? Should I say my name? I said, no, in this country, you don't have to tell. You can call and say, hey, this is happening in my next door or in this house, and you don't have to reveal who you are.
You call anonymously,
So we have to educate the community. I think that if we do that, we will prevent. And also
it does boil down to education, definitely.
Yes.
Education of parents.
And prevention, for me, prevention is the main point.
Well, yes, because there's no point picking up the pieces afterwards. Well, I don't mean there's no point. I'm saying if we can prevent, then we don't have to pick up the pieces afterwards, you know, because we don't want broken adults. We want lovely, thriving, happy, you know, young adults that have had good childhoods. We don't want them to grow up broken, you know.
And that's why it's so important that families, they treat children in a good way. I mean, use positive discipline, because we want to have that door open with our children to come to us if something happened to them. Because most of the time the child doesn't talk to the family because first of all is afraid about it, seeing that he's the one, is his fault or her fault. And the abuser, he knows how to manipulate and say, hey, if you say something, nobody's gonna believe you. So, and you are the bad boy or the bad girl, so don't speak out. And they are gonna hate me, and you know that I love you. So, and they start sending the message to be afraid of your family. So if you add to that question that the abuser is manipulating the child very well, and they do that very well.
Absolutely.
And you don't have that good relationship with your child, that child will never speak out. It will be growing up, and it will be one point of his or her life that she will come out and say, this happened to me. Maybe it will never say anything.
Well, so I didn't tell my mom till I was 30. So, you know, because we had a family that didn't talk about things, you know. I grew up in that era where you didn't talk about things, and so we've got to break that, so that children feel that they can go and ask questions. They can say, you know, somebody did this, it felt uncomfortable, you know, what should I do? Instead of wondering if their parents are going to get mad with them or, you know, get aggressive because they brought that subject up. It's got to be an everyday conversation that we have, that we feel comfortable asking.
And another piece is I work a lot with immigrants. So another thing that we have to teach these families, and is that immigrants are everywhere.
Yes, all over the world.
We have to talk to them that it doesn't matter the status, it doesn't matter where are you coming from, your social class. If you know that somebody is abused, a child has been abused or something, speak out, call the police, report that abuse. It doesn't matter. I can talk about the laws in South America and in the United States that it doesn't matter what is your status, you can report an abuse. And I do believe that is everywhere.
It is.
So we have also to talk about to get that population and say, hey, if you have been abused or somebody that you know, you can speak out. So we need the media. I find out that the media doesn't do that much. I call, when I say it, they go like, they look at me like, okay, yeah. I have friends that they are journalists, and they give me some time in April. And I say, why just April? You don't have to interview me every single month. But you can put something in the newspaper or say something. Remember this. Remember to love your child. Remember, if you see something about a child being abused, call and say say the number where they can call. So it's not like it's just once a year that I'm going for 30 days talking about it and I'm everywhere. I want to be every single day.
Yeah, this is a problem that happens every day, every hour, every minute. somewhere in the world. I mean, we have over 1 billion children every year that are abused. So that's 1 billion way too many, you know. So we can't just do it in April because it's Child Abuse Prevention Month. You know, it's got to be.
Do you have the same in England?
We do have certain times where child abuse prevention is highlighted, but I don't think it's as big as the Child Prevention Month in America is sort of a big thing everywhere, isn't it?
Well, because it was the president who declared that the April will be the Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Because that's how I started the My Body program, was doing a tour for the month of Child Abuse Prevention Month with the song Kimberly that I wrote. So you know, and that's how we got into using music for child abuse prevention.
Well, the music is fantastic. What I have seen is that our program is 5 weeks and it's just with the parents. But at the end, the section number 6, we use your music and we bring the children to the room, and we teach the parents how to use your music to pass the message. And they enjoy it. They love that. They love, because I mean, for some people that are like what happened in the pilot, that they were abused and everybody was freaking out. I mean, crying, because I move a lot of feelings when we talk about everything in the program. And for many people, when they take the programs, if they were not abused, somebody in the house was abused, or they know somebody that had been abused. So to bring music at the end is like a relief. It's like
we can deal with this.
We can, we can deal. Right now I'm working very hard to get funding, to see if when we implement the program and we have those cases, to have therapy, because sometimes they don't have insurance and it's very difficult to get extra help. But I feel like my dream is to have the complete cycle. To have the program, to have your program, and have help for those people who has been passed through that experience.
That's brilliant. Astrid, I'm going to sign off now, but after the video, or at the bottom of the video, I'm going to put a link to your website. And Astrid is on the My Body is My Body group if you want to meet her or talk to her or connect with her. And she's also on LinkedIn. So I wish you great success with your program. And
thank you.
I know we're going to be working together on lots and lots of things in the future.
Yeah, well, I hope to get in another conference with you.
Yes, I hope so too.
I hope that next year, I'm expecting this year, at the end of this year, to start going to
conferences. Yes. But we can still work like this in the meantime. So that's great. So thank you very much, Astrid.
No, thank you. And I'm so sorry for this morning that we couldn't get in Facebook, but we promise you that next time we will do it, and we will have many people, and you can ask questions. And you can put my email that if people need more information about the program or where to go.
I'll do that.
Thank you. And I really appreciate for this time. Okay.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.